Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Moy Style podcast. Today's topic is going to be about why I think some of you guys out there need to be working harder on your defense than you do on your hitting. So back when I was a little younger, and I wanted to take my game to the next level, my coach would always tell me you have to have something that stands out the most. You cannot just be average all across. You don't want to be an average infielder, average hitter, average thrower, average runner. So like back then, I was getting ready to go to showcases and stuff like that. So we would train for that, and he would always tell me you have to go out there and have something that stands out. Otherwise, it's gonna be hard for you. Because obviously, I was not a guy that was 6'4" or anything like that. So it's definitely wasn't gonna impress with that. But so what I did was I would work way harder on my fielding because I wanted to perfect my craft than I would on my hitting. I'm not saying I would get lazy with my hitting. I'm not saying that I would get lazy with my running game, arm strength, working on my arm strength and everything else. But I just didn't want to be average all across. So again, I wanted to have something that stood out the most, and that was my defense. So if I'm a coach, right, and I'm looking at my infield, I want to be able to have a guy that I can trust out there. And you as a player, you want to be able to figure out a way to stay in the lineup. I'm not saying that if you go 1-4-100, you're gonna be playing the infield, but you're gonna have sometimes during the season that you're gonna go through a little slump, and you have to have another tool that kind of helps you stay in the lineup. And so for you guys, because some of you guys are not gonna be better defenders than you are hitters, but for you guys that you feel like you're a better defender, you have to not give the coach a reason why he should take you out. So like you want him to be able to trust you in the infield. I want to be able to have a player out there, an infielder out there, especially a shortstop that can take charge, right? That's definitely not afraid of the ball. That I know he can read different hops. He can make the routine plays. He can make the backhand plays. He can make the forehand plays, and he's not gonna panic in big moments. So that's when I was in college. There was a year when I was not doing the greatest. I think that was probably my worst year. The first half I was hitting like 220, so it was horrible. And but I remember when my coach taught me that if you stay average all across, you're not going to be in the lineup much longer. So I knew my hitting would come along eventually, but I wanted to make sure my fielding was up to par, and I wanted to make sure I didn't give the coach a reason why he should take me out, and I would try to keep as impeccable as possible. So like I wouldn't make any errors. I was working harder every day on my fielding, and I knew eventually my hitting was going to come along, and eventually it did. But if I would have just worked real hard on my hitting and I would have forgotten about my fielding, then it would have been hard for me to stay in the lineup. And in college, obviously you have a lot more players, and everybody's fighting for a spot. Same thing that's going to happen at the professional level. At the younger levels, you don't have as many players, but you want to be able to play that position more than you do anywhere else. So now let's say you are an outfielder, same thing, right? So if you're a center fielder, if you got a little bit of speed, you want to be able to use it. I don't want to have a guy out there in center field that's real fast but can't read a ball in the outfield. So again, it's the same thing that what I was saying for the infielder, same thing it would apply for let's say a center fielder, right? Center fielder's got to be able to take charge. He's got to be able to have range, and he's got to be able to position themselves. So like at a young age, you want to be able to learn. Same thing happens for the infielders. You got to be able to learn how to position yourself, because you want to learn how to cheat slightly, not cheat in a bad way, but cheat to be able to get to more baseballs, to more balls out there that if you play in the same spot, you're gonna have a hard time getting to. So you gotta obviously work a little bit on your arm strength because I want to be able to throw people out. But more than anything else, you gotta be able to get to a lot of balls, left and right, forward. Gotta be able to read balls over your head. And again, don't give that coach a reason why he should take you out because you're just not producing all across. Now, if I'm a catcher, right? Catches are so important, especially nowadays. Catches are getting better and better, pitchers are getting better and better. So you gotta be able to have. You want your pitchers to want you to be behind the plate every time, and the same thing happens. And I'm not trying to go back and forth, but the same thing would happen for the shortstop or for the center fielder, right? You want your pitcher to trust you that if they hit a ground ball to you, you'll make the plays. Same thing happens for the catcher, right? I want to be able to, as a pitcher, I want to be able to trust my catcher. I don't want to have to panic thinking that I have to have such pinpoint accuracy because my catch is going to have a hard time catching the ball, can't frame it, or can't block any off-speed pitches or anything like that. So, especially when you got people on base, when you got runners on base, if I'm a pitcher, I'm not going to be afraid to throw an off-speed pitch because if you happen to throw in the dirt, I don't know that I trust you to block it up. So, again, if you really want to stay in the lineup, that's another. And you feel like you're a good catcher, just try to perfect that skill because catcher is so important. You gotta be able to learn how to throw people out. You gotta be able to how to block up different pitches. You gotta be able to learn how to frame because obviously the last thing you want to do is make a strike look like a ball. I remember I had a couple of my teammates that would get frustrated with a couple of catchers because they, it seemed like every ball that they would throw a ball right down the middle and they would turn it into a ball just because they just didn't know how to frame very well. So that's a pretty important skill. Now let's say you're playing first base, and a lot of people don't think first base is pretty important, but me as an infielder, right? I wanted to have somebody out there at first base that I could trust because I knew that my throws were not going to be on point every single time, especially when you're playing, when the day is pretty windy, or just your arm might be sore, or whatever the case may be, or you get in a hurry with the throw. And if I put it somewhere in this area, I want to be able to have that first baseman be able to catch a ball. The last thing I want is, maybe throw a ball in the dirt and this guy's not even giving me a shot to get the out. So like anytime I had to get first baseman, I would take care of that first baseman. I would even try to give him some pointers what I thought he could do a little bit better. But there are some real good first basemen out there, and I think this the position that sometimes people overlook, and it's so important. I know people think, well, he's just catching the ball. Well, but not all infielders are going to be able to make good throws all the time. They're going to throw the ball in the dirt. They're going to throw the ball to the left, to the right. So they got to be able to use the whole base. They got to be able to read different throws. So be a wall out there. So again, as a first baseman, I don't want to give the coach a reason why he should take me out because I'm just kind of sloppy out there. I'm just not very good. So I think it's pretty important. So what I'm trying to say with this podcast, and I wanted to make it short, but to the point, a lot of people, I'm not saying that you do not work on your hitting again, right? You don't work on your speed, but you have to have something that stands out the most. Like some of you guys panic when you're not in the lineup or you're not hitting, but and I worked with several college players, and I see it too. Like I see that some of them don't take defense pretty serious, and I know they can be pretty good, but they're like, well, I mean, I gotta be able to hit, and yeah, it is true. You gotta be able to hit, but if you have another tool out there in your toolbox, just use it. I mean, if you feel like you're a good defender, take advantage of that because hitting is not gonna be up there every time. And also before I forget, third basemen, right? Third baseman is a pretty important position too, right? So I want to be able to also communicate with my shortstop. I want to be able to know what pitches are coming. I want to be able to get a good jump, get a good read on different balls. And then when the throws are coming from the outfield, I don't, like, let's say we're trying to throw somebody out third base, I want to be able to be a wall. Even if I don't get the guy out third, I don't want to, you know, be so afraid of the ball that now everybody's scoring us because we're not able to keep the ball in front. Same thing happens on back picks to third base or back picks to first base. I don't want to, like, as a coach, I don't want to be afraid to call a back pick or the catcher call a back pick and not trust your third baseman or trust your first baseman, because we don't know if we're slightly off of the throws, or we don't know if that guy's going to keep the ball in front. I mean, sometimes you're not going to be able to get the guy out, but at least keep the ball in front. Excuse me. So in practice, I work a lot with that with the corner guys. I want them to be able to keep the ball in front. So I know there's a short podcast, but I hope you guys can get the point. And if you have any questions or any other topics you would like me to address on the next episode, let me know. I will have other guests that are coming up pretty soon. Everybody's pretty busy right now with baseball, but I want this podcast to be as educational as possible for everyone. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and remember, keep it Moy Style.
Hey guys, Moy Style Baseball here. If you're interested in having me come out to your city for a fielding camp or a hitting camp, or if you're in the Oklahoma area and you're looking for private lessons or group lessons, you can shoot me a text at 251-509-3815. You can also email me at moystyle33@gmail.com. Keep it Moy Style.